Oh, well, if you're going to have a start there, thing. Hello, everyone. It's Joe Montaldo. I'm here in Los Angeles at the Writers and Illustrators of the Future contest. We're going to be doing a few interviews like we do every year. As you can see, we have this young lady. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to everybody?
Hi, my name is April Solomon, and I am an illustrator and fine artist, and I currently live in Laguna Beach, California.
So when did you find out you won? I'm always, wait, first off, if we go there, how many times did you submit?
One time.
Wow. What is with these illustrators winning on one time? And last year we had a lot of them, so well, that must have been pretty. So what happened when Joni called you?
So this is a really funny story. So originally when Joni called me, she said, I have good news. You are a finalist. You didn't win, but you are a finalist and you might win. And she said, but I will call you in 3 days and I will let you know if you win. As long as 3 days of my life.
It was.
Just waiting and waiting. And there was like some holiday, I remember. So it was like an extra day. And I thought, oh, she hasn't called me yet. Maybe it's because of the holiday. And then she called me and I could hear it in her voice that I didn't win. So she told me, hello, Miss April, how are you doing today? Like it was a very low, kind of subtle tone. And I'm like, oh, good, Joni, how are you? She's like, well, I'm doing good, but I got some news for you. You didn't win, but the judges did have some advice for you, which I thought was really cool because normally when you enter a contest, if you don't get in, you don't know why. Yeah. Like you have no idea why you didn't get in, or you did get in, but they did have some advice for me. And I thought that was just super nice and awesome. So I walked away from that feeling like, okay, I could enter again if I want to, which I will. I'd already decided, okay, I'm going to enter again anyway. And I had some advice on what I should do for next time. Later that day, I get a call back from Joni. She says, April, call me right now. I have really good news for you. And then she hung up. I'm like, what the heck? Like, well, what could it possibly be? Like, so I call her back and she says, April, good news. You won.
Oh shit! I'm sorry. It's like a roller coaster, right?
Yeah, and I was like, well, okay, awesome. Well, what happened? She's like, well, we found out that the previous artist who we thought was the winner used AI in their work, so they immediately got disqualified, and I was, I guess, the next runner-up, and so that's how I found out that I won.
So where are you from?
I'm from Laguna Beach, California.
Oh, local girl.
Well, I'm a local
sort of local.
Yeah,
girl.
I'm
Close
a neighbor.
Close to being a local girl.
Yeah.
So, first of all, what made you decide to even submit to Writers of the Future?
So last year I went to Dragon Con in Atlanta, Georgia for my first time. And one of my main fortes is I love to draw and paint dragons. Everyone who meets me knows this about me. And lucky enough, I had the Illustrators of the Future booth right next to me, just to my left, right here. And Kim, who I'm assuming she's still working for the Galaxy Press. She was the best neighbor at the convention. I loved her so much. But she told me about the contest. And she said, yeah, you should submit. I think your work would really do well. And I never heard about Galaxy Press Publishing before. I never heard about the Illustrators of the Future award or contest or anything like that. So the Dragon Con event wasn't really great for me financially the way I had hoped, but I got so much more out of it because I met Kim and because I entered this contest. And clearly Dragon Con was meant for me to show up there so I could enter this contest.
I was there for 2 days with him, hiding out for the most part.
Oh yeah.
I interviewed John under Turley's hand, the big statue. And then I actually interviewed Emily in Salt Lake City because I went to FanX, and unfortunately his butt was in the whole entire interview. So we had lots of comments on that. I mean, pay attention to what she was saying, but all the comments we got was kind of funny. So you brought up AI, and I know this has been going around a lot. I've actually talked with Jeff Reiner. He brought me through the ins and outs. He's one of last year's winners, and we went through the ins and outs, and it was amazing. He said, I want you to tell me a couple of things. I said, well, I want to see an alien. He did a complete storyboard for a magazine in less than 8 minutes. So I'm like, no, it can't be good. It's a comic book. It's got to be crap, So I went through and read it, and it was actually decent. And the artwork was, I was like, oh man, this is not good. I actually called John Goodman the same day. I said, John, what the hell is this, man? Because I had a lot of friends, and I've made a lot of friends since I've been involved with them. And and it's just not fair to y'all. One good side is I did hear you cannot copyright AI artwork or story, so that's a good thing. So at least if somebody puts it out there, everybody can share on it. But it's an unfair competition. So I know it's banned from this competition. One of the competitions I attended earlier the year in New York, it's also banned from there as well. They said no more, we can't do it. And for artists, it's a little different. I know usually y'all have stages in your artwork anyway. Not everybody, but most y'all will show some kind of progression along the way. And I notice more and more companies are asking to see that now to make sure it's not an AI artwork because they want something they can control. So they need a copyright for it. So if it's not, so on that note, so you know all this is going on, so you know you got to compete against this. Where do you think you're going to go first? Where do you think you really want to try to put your artwork first?
I love you, Joe. Well, so one of my dream clients has always been to do work for D&D because I love drawing dragons and I love painting them. And if they want to give me a whole selection of dragons to paint, I'm your girl. And I, of course, would love to do magic cards someday. And book covers too, and just really finding my way. I think through that world, I think I could really enjoy the work, and also being said that's my illustrator side coming out. I also have a fine art side where I would love to do gallery shows and be known for the work that I would love to do strictly for myself, not just for the client.
But a lot of the art, and that's the reason I go to galleries from time to time. Sometimes I go in, I'm like, oh yeah, and then sometimes I gotta leave now. Well, obviously I do not say what artwork is in the country. So and sometimes I don't always see the inspiration because I'm not an artist. So it's hard for me sometimes to say, and what is that? And I don't want to be rude. I'm curious, because I went to see Van Gogh when they were in New Orleans just recently, which is one of my more favorites. I'm not a big Picasso fan, so. But I am into the classics. So for me, when I meet people like y'all, I'm always interested to see where you're going to go. New Orleans now has one of the largest gaming companies in the United States. They're hiring artists, storytellers, and of course text. Starting pay is $100K a year.
Wow.
So in New Orleans, $100K is good money. Here, not so much.
Yeah.
They're a little bit different, but they're actively looking. They just ran another ad the other day. He bought a big company down the why. They're toning it Silicon Valley now. I mean, Bayou Silicon. I'm sorry, Silicon Valley. Sorry. And so they're actually doing it. It's very interesting, but they're looking for all kind of people now. And I've noticed, talking to different artists across the country, I've been finding out that different companies now are pushing a lot harder for good art. And I have noticed that I've actually talked with some businessmen about AI. Most of them are anti-AI for art. So that's a good thing for y'all. I mean, it really is. So you've been here a couple of days now. How's everybody?
Everybody's awesome. I'm just
they scary nice is what they are.
Super rad. I just feel like I've grown my my family, my artistic community, my family, and just because I love what we're in just with the lecture today, and Bruce was talking about how it's a family, and that's also what I love about this industry is that whatever I find. Whatever it's technique or a contact or whatever, I want people to meet each other and I want to share that information with how I do it and people meeting people because that's how we survive as a community of artists, that we are well knit, and we know each other and we can pass along projects or just feel like you're a part of something that's really important.
So I noticed that in the forums, y'all talk a lot. That's a good thing.
And that's what I feel here already. Automatically, I just couldn't wait to meet everybody and just nerd out on the.
Larry Nevin's coming in. Tom Wood, who's one of my favorites, is coming in. I think what's his name? DeSantos. I think he's coming.
Dan DeSantos.
Yeah, I think he's coming. I met him and his wife. As a matter of fact, he was at the party we were talking about that night. Can't talk about it.
He's a good friend of mine.
He's a good guy.
Yeah.
All the Illustrator judges I took off right off the bat were pretty good friends with all of them. Me and Echo and I have become pretty good friends. And they're a bunch of good people. I haven't found anything bad about them. So what I want to ask you, and I know you haven't got to talk to the rest of them yet, but so far has everybody been very approachable?
Oh yeah.
I know the people who come are going to be very approachable because I know them personally. But to me, I think that's a big thing for y'all. I mean, do you think you're going to get anything new out of this? Are you going to learn anything new? I know they talk about the business side and stuff like that, which a lot of people are not familiar with. And I know they talk about a lot of art, so much that I was in a daze. Well, I mean, not an artist. So Echo was talking about shade one day. I said, no, the DeSantis was talking about shade one day. I was like, he's like, what are you shaking your head for, Josh? I still don't get it. He said, what do you mean you I said, I don't get it. He brought me up there. He said, I'm embarrassed. I said, no, you're not. He brought me up there. Let me show you around. I said, I'm not an artist. Quit. But he was using the example to show some of the other students how easy it was. He was going to joking to it. Y'all definitely get to it. I was like, that is wrong in so many ways. But I know all of them are going to be really, really approachable. And oh, that's right. We don't know who the big winners are yet. Huh? Keep y'all's fingers crossed. We don't know who the big ones are. So you have to. That's right. And then we got the gala event coming up. Looking forward to it. Everybody's gonna be decked out and there's gonna be press
Bouged
everywhere.
Where's the bouge?
Yes. And the 3 years I've been there, there's been a lot of press, a lot of good press, really friendly people, and y'all don't have to worry about them because they know I actually film the press when I'm there. It makes them crazy. It just makes them crazy. They're like, what are you doing? I said, I'm filming. I said, I'm pressed. He said, you're awful dressed up. I said, I'm pressed. Don't worry about it. I said, I'm watching all y'all. They're hiding on the side of the stage. I'm leaning on the side. But that way I know they're being honest and they're not going to harass anybody. And they're really, I mean, they were all real nice anyway. So, but I know you're going to love Larry because he makes me sound like a quiet person. He can really turn it on. Tom's excellent. He's a very laid back, very nice guy, and and what I like about all these judges, and I'm sure you're going to find out more about this, is all of them are very approachable.
It's wonderful.
That's what they're here for. They like y'all. They want to talk to you. And I will tell you a secret about some of them. If you're really, really, really talented, they will probably help you find work.
That's really nice.
So that's a good thing. But anything else you want to add in there?
Just for anyone who ever wants to think about entering the contest, just do it. Just enter, because you never know where it's going to take you. You never know.
And as I've said 100 million times, you can't get here if you don't submit. You can't win if you don't submit. What was that? Tell her.
I was going to say, tell them your website address.
Yes,
yeah, my website. Thank you, sister. Dragon sister. Hello, right. Sister. Sarah's sister. Sister. Yeah. No, that's a very good point. Thank you. I just space seller.
Oh, that's okay.
You can. Your face, so you can check out my artwork on my website, aprilsolomonart.com. I try to make it super simple and easy, and I also have a Patreon, aprilsolomonart.com/patreon.com, and you can find me on Instagram, aprilsolomonart.com. I try and keep the same name through all the platforms.
That's the best way to do it. My emails are this long. I make them as short as possible.
Just joe@gmail.com.
I got one of those, but iCards one to use the most. So I was going to ask that for you. Right out of my head. What I had? Mercy. What the hell was it? Well, I guess we're going to wrap it up because I did have one more question, but apparently I got to thinking about something else.
Am I available for work for hire right now? Yes, I am.
Oh, that's sexy. Yeah, you hear that?
Not work for hire.
Yes.
That's right. Pay her a lot of money, people. She's a good artist, so y'all need to get out there and enjoy it and learn about stuff. Really and truly, when you get a chance, make sure you get hold of all the other judges because they like it. Tom can talk and set off too. So awesome. If you can catch them at the bar after they've had a drink or two, I should have said that would get in trouble.
I'll find them.
They're a lot more friendly. They're a lot more talkative, I should say. And so they're all of them are really good guys. I mean, I came here on a whole different disguise, and I've been really impressed with all of them. So, any favorites? I know I'm putting you on the spot here.
Yeah, got lots of favorites. I mean, Larry Elmore, of course. I'm going to give that man a hug. The hug that I've been waiting to give him.
I'm breaking now.
I will try really hard. It'll feel like I'm meeting an old family member. I've known his work for so long. It's been such an inspiration for me. And I really wish Bob Eagleton was going to be here. I was really heartbroken when I saw he was going to be on Zoom. If Bob is listening to this, Bob, I wish you were here. But, I'm glad that you'll at least visit the Zoom chat. Larry is a top tier for me. And it'll be great to see Dan again as well.
And that's what I was going to ask you. Any plans on attending anything this year, going anywhere?
Yes, I will be at a LexCon for my first time. And I will also be at Monsterpalooza for my first time.
You got to explain to the 9 people who don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, yeah. So Monsterpalooza is a monster-centered convention. It's like Comic-Con, but for monsters.
That should be fun. Where's it
Yes, it's in Pasadena.
at?
It's in a weird spot during the year. It's from June 2nd to the 4th. It's not during October. I don't know why.
Hmm.
And then LXCon is going to be in October, and that's going to be in Pennsylvania. And I do have a solo show coming up in Los Angeles at the Hive Gallery in October from the 1st to the 31st.
Cool.
So I got some good shows lined up for
So
me.
stuff like that, if you ever need help, call us. We can, a lot of that stuff, we can show you how to send it and tape it or send it or pick it up
Oh, yeah.
live. Even. Pennsylvania, by the way, I have 6 hosts in Pennsylvania.
Wow.
So if you need any kind, just let me know.
I
You know the one I was
will.
talking smack about, he's also in Pennsylvania.
I will actually.
And
I'll get your number.
Yeah, there's, yeah, I'm gonna make sure y'all have it for you. I
Thank
guess
you.
if we're gonna go, so tell me your name one more time, and you already told me where you can find it, and I'll let you get out of here. I know, because somebody said 8 o'clock in the morning. Echo, we're not mentioning any names. we know you didn't do it, I know that was evil Emily did that. I know who it was. But you guys get up, and I'm gonna shut it down,
Okay.
and then we'll
Thank you,
get
Joe.
No, thank you.
Appreciate
See,
it.
it's easy, it's not painful.
No, it's not painful at all.
It's, and whoa, who's the scary guy got up here now?
I'm glad you guys are here.